Hello viewers, today we're going to be servicing a super branded 6-inch desk fan. This is the Canadian version of the SMCs that we have here in the US. Slightly different design. It's a 2-speed toggle switch versus the dial that is on the US version, and of course it has this stupid, ridiculously dense guard that was required in Canada. There's a super reflective sticker, desk fan model 6 HK, 0.27 amps, made in China, sold in Canada. This doesn't require much cleaning. It's in pretty good condition. So we can go over the base a little bit with some melamine foam to clean it up a little more, but mostly just needs a good service on the bearings. Bearings are very dry and stiff. So let's get a quick sample of how it runs before, so that we have something to compare it to when we're done. We're going to be testing at 119.7 the volts. And we'll go over to the watts, or we have amps, we'll do the amps because that's what the rating's in. And this is the low. Okay, it's not working, and this is the high. It's also not working, and it's taking 0.26 amps to do nothing. Okay. I think this also has quite a few more tabs on it than the one in the US does. I think it's only held on with like 2 or 3 tabs over here, but this one's got like a million tabs on it. Oh, what the heck these people in Canada were thinking is going to happen with these fans. Well, it's kind of grungy in there. I guess we have more cleaning to do than I thought. We'll go ahead and remove this tag because we're not going to be able to wash this without damaging that. Of course, we'll put that back on when I'm done with this video. So we'll clean that. The blade should just pull right off. Of course, that might be easier said than done. It's just press fit with a, I'm not sure what you call that. It's like a spring almost type clip in there. And here's the ridiculous grill. And it doesn't let any air through. Completely ludicrous. I don't know why these were designed that way. And it wasn't just the SMC. It was nothing to do with the brand. It was some kind of safety standards that the government or the council or whatever it's called over there had set, because all the brands of the fans were like this. The Lasco Galaxies were like this. They all were. And here's the inside of the motor housing. It seems like this is not picking up the light very well in there. And the motor's in pretty clean condition. I don't know if that's probably horribly brittle plastic. I'm not even going to bother trying to take that off. I will remove the switch because it'll make it a touch easier to clean this. What is this? Is that just a junction? That's kind of weird. I wonder if there's like a fuse or something in there. I don't really want to mess with it because I'm sure the plastic is super brittle. Maybe there's a weird Canadian safety standard, something or other. The lower portion of the two screws is what will release the motor from the housing here. And actually we are going to have to detach this stuff in order to put it in the dishwasher. Oh no, it's soldered on. Well, there's a simple solution to this. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and put all this into the dishwasher, including the cord. Okay, so we're going to put this into the dishwasher now. I'm not going to put the blade in the front guard, we'll just wash that stuff by hand. It feels like kind of a waste to run a whole load just for a little 6-inch fan, but it's such a time saver, it's worth it at the end of the day. Just want to make sure the cord does not fall down and get stuck in the thing that moves, whatever it's called. And that will end up being a waste of a load because the thing's not going to clean. So I'm just going to kind of wrap this around like this. Okay. And we'll get some dishwashing soap and some TSP. Oh no, that just broke. That's not good. We're only going to use a little bit of soap because I don't think we need much to clean a 6-inch fan. I gotta get some more TSP soon. I feel like this is probably what does the majority of the cleaning. Okay, now we'll put on the hot water briefly to get it run over to the equipment here. It's a short run, it doesn't take long to get it warm. Okay. Now, plugging this in has become a bit of a problem. In fact, I got to get an extension cord and plug it in directly over here because the power bar keeps tripping out during operation. And I thought initially that it was a heat problem because the side of the dishwasher gets very hot and it warms up the power bar. And assuming that the power bar is thermally protected, I thought that maybe it's erroneously tripping the thermal protector. So I put a fan on the power bar and the side of the dishwasher to keep it cooler, and that worked a couple times, and now it's tripping out again. So I don't know what's up with this thing, but if I plug it directly into the outlet over here and forgo the it being connected through the power bar, then everything is copacetic. So we'll just do that. And unfortunately, it looks like the plug got damaged. Oh, I fixed it. Okay, let's turn this on. We're going to put it to pots and pans. We're going to shut off the heated dry because we don't need that. And we're going to put on power scour. And then we'll begin. Oh great, now it makes funny noises. We're just going to clean the front guard and the blades manually by hand, because I just don't know if the blades would be negatively affected by heat over time. I don't think it's worth taking the risk, and this guard is not difficult to clean. And the blades are not that difficult to clean either. It's certainly not worth taking a risk on the blades. I suppose as the D3 printing becomes, more and more consumer available in the consumer market, and the price comes down, we're going to have more and more people printing replicated replacement parts, which is a good thing. And so it might eventually get to the point where we can just print out a new blade like this, which is really kind of cool in a lot of respects. But we're not there yet, and I certainly don't have. Actually, I shouldn't say we're not there yet. Probably are there, but the equipment is not really consumer affordable yet. I certainly don't have anything like that. I gotta put on the dehumidifier. It is pretty humid down here. We'll clean the blades with melamine foam, of course. The best cleaner on the planet. Really wish I had discovered this. Well, I was told about this stuff a while ago, and I didn't believe it was as good as it was. And I wish I had gotten it many years ago. Look at that, it looks like brand new. Even the water beads up on the surface already. No! Look at that. It just cleans it to like new in just a couple swipes. Unbelievable. I don't really use like any other cleaning product besides this at this point. Even around the house, I've started to use this. I cleaned the bathtub with this, and you would have think I got the bathtub reglazed. It's a miracle cleaning product. This is some pretty tough stuff on there. I don't know what that is. Huh, maybe I should have put this in the washer. It's kind of like sticky. Which sticky is the one thing I find that this doesn't always work the best on. You know, I wonder if this is the smoking. That's what this might be. It could be from the smoking. Gosh, the pesky the smoking. It ruins so much good equipment. Well, here I was before saying that these guards are easy to clean, and this one is not easy. We'll get it, it's just going to take a little bit longer. I think we need something stronger than that. I don't understand why this works. Like, there's no chemical as far as I know in there, and it just plain works perfectly. I've gotten most of that junk off of there. I don't know what that was. It was very, very tacky. Even seemed kind of tacky for the smoking. Must have just sat for a while. I don't know. No. There's the water from inside the dishwasher coming out. This is cleaning up really nice. This thing is going to look and run like new. Wow, that's incredible. It's literally squeaky clean. Look at that, it's even got the original shine back. Truly an incredible cleaning product. Stuff even makes the sink look like new. Gets kind of grungy over here because the dehumidifier drains and then the dishwasher drains and it just turns gross. Quick wipe down with this brings it right back to like new. Look at that, absolutely incredible. going to wash some towels tomorrow. Alright, cleaning area is cleaned up. The super is partially cleaned up. The rest of it's cleaning up as we speak. And now we'll go and service the motor. Here's the super motor. It's super busted right now. That's about all that's super about it. But we're going to get it working super in just a few minutes. So, we need to remove these two screws to get the bearings off the motor. And the shaft is pretty clean. If it slides off, so be it. If it meets any resistance, we'll have to stop and polish it up. Perfect. Easy enough. So there's a bunch of thrust washers in the back. We'll just leave those alone for now. We're going to take this shaft into the garage. Those are for the front. We'll take this shaft into the garage and we'll clean this up in the garage. Now we're going to polish the shaft with Simichrome polish. This just so happens to be the outshining metal polish. It's not legal for sale in California. I have no idea why. And it is made in, I think it's made in Germany. Yes, it is. It's a great polish. It works very well. And the small amounts of it go a long way. We're going to use it to clean up the bearing surface of this. You can see how it's all kind of scored there from running with inadequate lubrication or dried up oil. The other side's the same way, and that's going to really bog down the bearings operation. So we're going to get all that cleaned off, and it'll run like new again. So we need to get this into the drill press here so we can spin it up. And I'm going to cover the shaft with a ticker towel because we don't want the shaft to get marked up at all by the chuck here when we put this in. Must have cleaned a large shaft last time I used this. Yeah, we'll try to make it as straight as possible, though it's not really a big deal if it's a little bit crooked. That's actually pretty good right there. Okay, we're ready to polish it now. And we're going to be cheap with the ticker towels as usual. Where's that air? Oh, it's coming out of there. Never noticed that before. It looks pretty good now. It's much better than it was. I don't want to go a third round because every time you do this, you take off a microscopic layer of the surface, which, you know, eventually you're going to wear it down too much and it's going to rattle. So we're nowhere near that point, but I don't see any reason to bring it any closer. These cheesy shaded pole C-frame motors really need as much help as they can get in the bearings department. Not good. We might do one more shot on the bottom. 2 on each, that's fine. And you know what? I'm just going to do a touch more on top as well because it does still look fairly dirty. All right, that should be good. Now, instead of that dirty, scored up surface, we have a nice clean, shiny surface for the bearings to hold. So work much better this way. That stupid dumb moon is so bright tonight. Hate that dumb thing. It's impossible to sleep with it this bright out. The shaft has been cleaned. Now we're going to lubricate and clean the bearings. Those are 2 thrust washers from the front And here's the two from the back. And we can turn these around, and sometimes that stops the bearing rattle. This motor has a lot of varnish on it. I wonder if the windings are varnished as well as this thinking motor is. Okay, so we need this. I would have expected more dried up sticky oil to come out than that. Well, the bearing's pretty clean, I guess. Both of them are pretty clean. Very surprising. Okay, now we're going to add some oil. Looks like this rear one is pretty severely lacking the wicking material that should be around the bearing. It should be like this, where you have that wicking material all around the outside of the bearing. I don't know why this one doesn't have it, or doesn't have as much as it should, rather. Some people have started to add or replace that material inside there. I've never found that necessary, but it certainly can't hurt. In this case, maybe it's necessary because it's missing, but this is a little bit out of the ordinary. So we're going to add the oil into where that wicking material is. And you can see how this is absorbing it. That's the way it's supposed to be. I don't know what's going on with the other side. It's not operating properly. It's kind of weird. Oh, it is what it is. I don't have any of that material on hand, so I can't do anything about it at this particular time. We'll clean off these thrust washers. They're kind of dirty too. Gosh, kind of smells like a fireman here. Bah. It's just these two that were dirty. The other two are pretty clean, so we'll leave those alone. It's a little risky to clean these because they can always snap. Not that they're not replaceable, but you know, these are the exact size and spec it's supposed to be, and you're not going to get the exact size and spec again, I don't think. At least I wouldn't with what I have on hand. Alright, so we're going to slip these back on. I am paying no attention to the order in which they came off in, hoping that at random it'll be different, because then the wear will not be the same and it might be a little bit quieter. Add some oil on there. And then we'll take off any of the excess oil on here, which there is plenty on this one because it's not working properly. Only a little bit on this one because it's working properly. And now we will reassemble this motor. I don't think it matters which one is front or rear. They look identical to me. One goes in the front and one goes in the back. Very helpful. I'm going to put a drop of oil onto the shaft before we slide it into place. Now put a little bit of oil on this side as well. Put a little bit of oil on this side as well. And these do not need to be very tight, just snug. Snug on a quarter turn. Maybe not even just an eighth of a turn. Alright, now we might find that the shaft is very stiff. If it is, we can take a screwdriver and just kind of tap the shaft. They're self-aligning bearings. A little bit of motion like that will free them right up. We'll add another drop of oil in the front for a good measure. Same thing in the back. Work that oil around in there. And as you can see, this is now spinning beautifully. Super free. And I don't really feel much play in the bearing, so this might end up not having an awful rattle to it. Wipe off any oil excess that's dripping. And now we just wait for the parts to finish, although I will have to grab, there's one thing I got to do in between then and now, or now and then, and that is I got to grab some small wire nuts to fix this. And no, we are not going to put any stinking electrical tape on the wire nuts. Alright, now we're going to take a short break. We'll be back in a couple seconds with the rest of the pieces from the dishwasher and some small wire connectors to remake this connection. The cleaning has completed and it came out fantastic. It even just feels super clean. Alright, let's get this reassembled. It should run like new now. Certainly looks it. The dishwasher is incredible to have for the guards. It is such a time and nuisance saver. Cleaning those plastic guards manually by hand is a real pain in the neck. And the dishwasher does a fantastic job at it and doesn't waste any of your time. Does the stinking cord have to come out first? It's going to be tough to get it back in. I wasn't expecting this to be a challenging part of the process. That's not good. You know what else isn't good is that there's some residual water left in some of these holes. Just spray that out of there. Looks like this is not going to sit in there unless the cord is out first. It's going to be very tricky to get the cord to feed back in through there. Well, that's what we have to deal with. Really? That's not going to be easy. No, actually, that was not as bad as I was expecting. These should probably be soldered together. It's a little too late for that tonight, but maybe in the future I will solder these together and make a little better connection. A lot of bulk in here now, and there was before with this dumb connection box thing. I don't know, still don't know what that's for. But now it's even worse because I added the two twist-on wire connectors. So just kind of carefully cram everything in here. This is not going to be easy. Maybe I'll bring some more slack into the motor and try to push this up towards the top. Let this kind of route around there like that. And then maybe one of these goes in here like this and one goes like that. Wire nuts are not the problem, it's this stupid box that I can't get to fit in there. I don't know what that dumb thing is for and why we need it. That has to go on the left. Okay, I think I got it. That stupid box, definitely annoying. Okay, box in place, now we can continue. Well, it's certainly going to work a lot better now. Much better. You really don't feel any play in the bearings. Hopefully this runs quiet. Well, that's quite a difference. It still hardly moves in the air because of the stupid guard, but it's running up the spec now. Now it takes only 0.24 the amps, 23 the watts, with a power factor of 0.79. It's actually a decent power factor for a cheesy C-frame shaded pole motor. It's in reasonable balance too. And the low. I don't hear any bearing rattle as of now, but that's certainly not to say it's not going to surface after a few hours of operation. And that is 0.17 the amps, 16.4 the watts, power factor of 0.8, which is really quite good for this style motor. I keep forgetting I don't have to move it out of the, I don't have to move the camera off, out of being in, what the heck am I trying to say? It's so late now. I stayed up late to try to wait for the dishwasher to finish. I don't have to move the camera so it's not in front of the fan anymore. Because the wind noise is a non-issue. And now just to see what happens, let's connect it to the variac and run it at a lower voltage than it's requiring. That's about how it was running before. It's still taking 6 watts to do pretty much nothing. Oh, that really cleaned up quite nicely. Well, there's a tripod kick for the video, but fortunately the camera was not on it at that particular moment. Alright, so now I just need to clean up one of the SMC branded ones that I have that was sold here in the US. Get it running up to spec, and then we can do a proper comparison of the two.